as sad as this is for Tim Scott to still be dancing, despite the fact that he was rejected the first time, is it really valuable or worthwhile when you like the second, third, fourth choice? Hi, my name is Reese Waters, and this is Who Raised Y'all, where we highlight those unique individuals going above and beyond to make our society worse. You know, the kinds of people that'll be asking to speak to the manager at the pearly gates.
I want to talk to the manager.
How many times have I said that this week? How many Who Raised Y'alls have there been? Who raised y'all? Who raised y'all? Who raised y'all? We got to do a better job of educating the youth. Yeah, we definitely got to do a better job. And it looks like that's an uphill battle, seeing the attacks on the Department of Education. But, we'll get there. Tim Scott, come on down.
Thank you very much.
Now, when we last saw Tim Scott, he just had received the news that he received an empty tray of biscuits as a result of Donald Trump's cabinet nominations.
My passion is making sure that we defend our current seats and expand the map and expand our majority so that President Trump does not have 2 years with a Republican majority in the Senate, and he has 4 years in control of making sure that America's agenda comes home to each and every household.
You're gonna cry in the car.
Well, he got a little bit more pep in his step now. It must be a result of some of these nominations not going the way they were originally thought to. It must be some of them, they starting to go left. They starting to go a little bit left. I think Tim Scott sees an opportunity. This man wrote a whole letter demanding that President Joe Biden cease doing his job as president, even though Donald Trump won't be sworn into office for another 2 months. You know what? Let's go ahead and pull that letter up. Scott wrote, "Dear Mr. President," at least he acknowledged that Biden was president, because Marjorie Taylor Greene won't even do that. On November 6th, Americans across the country rejected your administration's radical economic agenda and delivered President Trump. Now, I'm just gonna stop us right there. So that tells me that this was done for effect from the public and not for effect from Biden, because you're not gonna ask him to stand down and start with rejected your administration's radical economic agenda. So now we know what it is, which if you're Biden, like that, it was at that point that he should have thrown it in the trash. I don't know exactly what about it. At that point, it should have been thrown in the trash, and this would only exist on social media for Tim Scott to send out and say, "Oh, look what I did." That's the world that we live in now. On November 6th, Americans across the country rejected your administration's radical economic agenda. And so I'm assuming that Tim Scott didn't make money over the course of the last 4 years. He should give that back. He should give that back. He delivered President Trump and the incoming Republican Congress a clear mandate to usher in a new era of government. I wonder, Tim Scott, did you receive the 2020 election that way? Did you receive the 2020 election as a rejection of Trump's radical agenda and to usher in a new era? I'm just curious. Given this mandate, it is incumbent upon you and your administration to ensure that President Trump can implement the agenda the American people voted for by allowing him to take office on January 20th with a fresh slate. Ooh, that is fast. A fresh slate. So is that what Trump and the MAGAs were trying to do on January 6th? Was just clean the slate? That's why they rushed up. They wanted to clean the slate so Biden can come in and just, and everything be clear. Is that what they were doing? To ensure an orderly transition, federal financial and housing regulators should suspend any rulemaking and nomination related activities As the top Republican on the Senate Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs, I call on the agencies overseen by the committee to cease all rulemaking, including the finalization of any pending or proposed regulations or guidance, and to comply with federal record retention laws and preserve all agency documents, records, and communications. I subsequently demand, oh, you making demands now? Wow, look at that. Well, he probably knew he threw it in the trash. So he just can put anything in this section of it. He threw it in the trash when you said rejected your administration's radical economic agenda. It was thrown in the trash. So Biden never read this, so he can put whatever he wants in here. I subsequently demand all pending nominations within the committee's purview be withdrawn. I will not vote for or advance any nominees put forth in front of the committee by your administration. Next Congress, I look forward to confirming President Trump's nominees who will bring about economic opportunity for all Americans. Now, as sad as this is for Tim Scott to still be dancing, despite the fact that he was rejected the first time for any of these cushy positions, and really, is it really valuable or worthwhile when you like the second, third, fourth choice? You know what I mean? Like, we have this debate all of the time. You know, I remember as a single person, when you out and you see somebody who you feeling and they in a group of people, you have to develop a strategy. But when they go to your girl first, then they go to your other girl, then they go to Pete Hegseth, then they come back around to Matt Gaetz, then they come to you. Is it meaningful at that point? Is it? Does it still warm your feet? Does it still warm your feet? You acting that thirsty. So that's what I'm wondering right now. This is really fascinating that we just have in recent memory that they tried to pull this. Mitch McConnell tried to pull this, and I won't say tried. He actually successfully pulled this with Obama and cost the Democrats and all progressives a Supreme Court seat.
We'd fill it.
I don't know why you would ever try this again, but then again, I say that Democrats don't learn. They don't learn. I see why you would try this, because Democrats, they don't learn. They don't learn. We still in this cycle of them complaining about how dirty the Republicans playing and trying to work by imaginary rule book. They don't learn. They don't learn. So I see why you would try. You know what? I withdraw my objection to the attempt. Now, how you went about it, demanding things and talking about radical, that is hysterical. That is hysterical. But I see why you would run this up the flagpole a second time, demanding that he stop doing the job that y'all were all over Fox News talking about who's the president, right? Wasn't y'all all over Fox News talking about who's the president while Kamala Harris was campaigning because you hadn't seen Biden? And now you want no president for the last 2 months. I got it. You just want to mirror what happened last time because we know there was no president during this window last time, because the only thing that Trump was concerned about was trying to maintain power. I don't know that he was actually had any interest in governing in November of 2020.
I'm going to be a dictator.
Maybe that's what you're trying to set up here, but I think it's quite ironic that you would be out here requesting such a thing, or should I say demanding such a thing. But the reality is that after Trump lost the 2020 election to Biden, Republicans in the Senate did continue to govern. They confirmed federal judges which were nominated by Trump even after the public had rejected your radical agenda. Yeah, y'all did that, but I guess your memory doesn't go back that far, apparently. I guess you don't really remember anything that happened before you told Trump that you loved him.
I just love you.
And to that point, I wouldn't remember anything that happened. That's a traumatic event. That is a traumatic event. By the way, among those that were confirmed by the Republican Senate majority at the time, Judge Eileen Cannon. Yeah, the federal judge who threw out the case against Trump for keeping classified documents. Yeah, she was confirmed November 12th of 2020. And among those who voted for her, a one and only Tim Scott. There he is. Oh, there he is. Yeah. This was after the election. In fact, at least 19 federal judges nominated by Trump were confirmed by Senate Republicans after Trump lost the election on November 3rd and before Biden was sworn in on January 20th of 2021. That is correct. That is what y'all did. But of course, when it comes to the lines that you draw for yourselves and for Democrats, they could not be any more different. And this is a perfect encapsulation of MAGAism. This is, I thought that I wasn't going to see a better example of a MAGA disconnect than Marjorie Taylor Greene saying that those who stood opposed to Trump's agenda were committing treason, even though Trump wasn't president, and she actively is obstructing the active president's agenda. I thought that was going to be the biggest disconnect and example of illogical thought that I would see this week, but it's got a challenger. You know what I mean? It's got a challenger. That is embarrassing, Tim Scott. That is, huh? He actually appeared on camera after this?
Welcome back to Sunday Night in America. Donald Trump promised to dismantle the Department of Education, as have others since Jimmy Carter established the department in 1979. Trump is promising you choice.
You know, school choice is a very big deal. A lot of people don't know that, but it's a big deal. It'll be great. You know, I'm going to take the Department of Education, close it in Washington, let the states run their own education.
Now, this I find fascinating. This has been one of the real growing choruses of the Trump incoming agenda is about dismantling the Department of Education, which I find so fascinating. You want to give it back to the states in order to control and make decisions based on how they want to educate their kids. Now, I could process that one of two ways. I could either process that because you want to control the narrative and you wanted to eliminate any standards or guardrails that you have that are preventing you from being able to direct your kids mentally wherever you choose to direct them. Or I could potentially see that as you feel like, you know what, these liberal states be holding us back. Let's just go ahead and allow all of our red states to run wild and reach their full potential. Let's take a look at some data. West Virginia happens to be the least educated U.S. state. It ranks last for educational attainment, with the lowest shares of people with associate's degrees or some college experience and those with bachelor's degrees. It also has the fourth lowest average university quality. You got Mississippi coming in next as the second least educated state. Then after Mississippi, we're gonna hit Louisiana. We got Louisiana right here. And we got Arkansas. See, Arkansas, Alabama. All right, come on down, Alabama. Now let's go ahead into the most educated U.S. states. Let's see, we got Massachusetts, Maryland, Connecticut, Colorado, and Vermont. Let's see, Massachusetts, Maryland, Connecticut, Vermont. Let's see, Louisiana, Alabama, West Virginia, Mississippi. Okay, got it. But you want to leave it to the states. Okay, got it.
Joining us is incoming Republican Senate Committee Chair and soon to be Chair of the Banking Committee, Senator Tim Scott. Welcome, Chairman. Before we get to education, there was an article about alleged friction in the lead up to 2026. Have you even begun making staffing decisions on how to defend the GOP majority? And my sense is you and President Trump are singing out of the same hymnal.
Well, exactly, Trey. I've made no public announcements because I've made no final decisions on the NRC and the staff. One thing I can tell you is that Steve Daines and the staff at the NRC did a really good job of not delivering 51 seats, but 53 seats. Number two, I can tell you, we want to hear from each and every person who's there so that we can make good hiring decisions. And number three, I spoke with President Trump and made sure that we were on the same page with the vision we have to make sure that the NRC is able to produce not 2 years in the majority, but every single year while he's in office. We need 4 years of a Republican majority.
Did you cry? Huh? Did you cry? Was it in person or was it over the phone? It was by text. Not even by, it was a DM? Wow. So you don't even have his number, do you?
That will require us to have a united Republican Party. And so to that end, I am working not only on staffing it, but also creating a succession plan.
You already know you're gonna be fired, huh? You already know you're gonna be fired. Yeah. Because in my video about you and Byron Donalds not getting any of the initial nominations, I mentioned the fact that you actually have to defend a lot more seats in 2026 than Democrats do. So you becoming the head of the NRSC, which nobody knew about, was the thing before a week ago. Sounds like something they found on the floor. You becoming the head of that at this particular point in time feels like quite a setup.
So that when I'm finished at the NRSC, whether it's Jim Banks, Marsha Blackburn, or Pete Ricketts, 3 vice chair to come, they'll have an opportunity to have their hands in the pie.
Don't say pie. Don't say pie. Don't say pie. Don't say nothing about biscuits or nothing like that. Just skip that.
So that we have explosive opportunities to win in places where President Trump was very close. Wisconsin, Michigan. We were as close in New Mexico as we were in Virginia. The map continues to expand because there's a working class coalition that wants to make sure the job is done for them. This is not about me. Frankly, it's not even about the president.
Well, that's a lie. That's a lie. I mean, I know it ain't about you. It's definitely not about you. But you saying it's not about him. Oh, okay, so he wasn't the one that said that he needed to win the presidency to keep himself out of jail. That wasn't him.
He has devoted his life to making sure that the average person working paycheck to paycheck gets a chance to realize the American dream on their terms.
I get it. That you say he devoted his life. He devoted his life. It's like a whole line of people waiting to be paid for projects going back decades. But now I get it. Because he wanted them to realize the American dream on their terms. So like if he would have paid them, that wouldn't have been on their, he wants you to do on your terms. So if I pay you for the job you did for me, that's technically on my terms, because that was my idea for you to do the job. So that's on my terms if I pay you. So you got to do it you realize it on your terms. Yeah. Congratulations, MAGA. Yeah. No. Don't be asking the government for, no, you realize it on your terms. Your terms.
And I'm going to make sure I do everything in my power to deliver 4 years of a majority and not just 2. But you said it at the beginning, Trey. 2026 is a very difficult challenge for us to overcome.
Well, let me keep with that theme of opportunity, because there's not much opportunity if you don't have an education. That's a passion of yours.
Amen.
What needs to change in the current education structure that we have to provide more choice or better educational attainment? What needs to change?
The first thing that has to change, Trey, is we have to focus on kids and not on adults. the teachers' unions, not teachers, but the unions, focus on creating a system for adults.
Oh, they were creating a system for adults and not for the kids. Okay, so like when Moms for Liberty was making demands for education, and they had all litany of scandals going on with them personally, that really shouldn't have been disqualifying, because it's perfectly okay for you to be hypocritical as an adult. It's really about the kids. Okay, I got it. Well, what are kids supposed to think after this election?
I don't want to hear any more parents out there nervous about what their children are being taught, frightened by drag queens reading books to your kids. If what you saw him do did not disgust you enough to protect your kids, I don't want to hear from you anymore.
That means devastation lies on the south side of Chicago, where poor black kids are trapped in failing schools and they can't even transfer in their own city. Why?
What would Fox News do without Chicago? Oh my gosh. Oh my God. I wonder what would happen if a black conservative appears on Fox News and doesn't mention Chicago? Like, do you get fired on the spot? Like, do you self-combust? Is that it? If a black conservative has to mention Chicago, and a host has to mention trans rights, that got to be on a wall somewhere in Fox. Y'all got to take an oath.
Because a system created for adults do not always take into consideration the kids. We spend $750 billion as a nation on K through 12 education, and against our competitors, we continue to drop down. We are robbing kids of their future because today they can't get a good education.
I don't necessarily agree with that at this point in time, but it might be true in 2028. I'll be honest. It might be. You might be a little bit early on that assertion, Tim Scott.
I mean, if you are literally trapped and mired in a situation where you cannot extricate yourself, why is that not a civil rights issue?
Well, Trey, I think you're 100% right. Let me just say it this way. There's no question that the biggest civil rights issue of our era is choice in education. Trapping poor kids, black kids, or white kids in the rural parts of this country, or Hispanic kids, Native American kids, out of quality education should be, if it's not, a violation of their civil rights. And it would be interesting to see the DOJ come to the rescue of poor black kids on the south side of Chicago, and poor white kids in rural America, and Hispanic kids in inner cities. Why not have the DOJ empowered to enforce the civil rights laws to make sure every single child in our nation, every child of God, gets a quality education? Because we have the resources, we just need the will.
You kind of had me at the DOJ come to the rescue of poor black kids. Like, I don't know if you knew that that was a sequence of words that you used. Probably not. But if the DOJ will come to the rescue of poor black kids for anything, for any reason, that would be, woo boy, that would be something to see. But if the problem, Tim Scott, you forgetting, if the DOJ came to the rescue of poor black kids, especially in Chicago, then you wouldn't be able to appear on Fox News and use it as a talking point. That's the problem. Yeah, because you don't want to help black people, but you definitely don't want to help poor people, and you definitely don't want to help poor black people. And in Chicago, nah, Tim Scott. Nah, that's kind of talk. That's kind of talk that's gonna get you run out before 2026. That's what I'm saying. You did tell Mindy you might be spending some more time at home before that. Thank you guys so much for watching the video and supporting the channel. Like a lot of you, I'm moving forward one day at a time. A little unsure of exactly what our world will look like, and as far as I'm concerned, that means the media landscape at large, but specifically here on YouTube. And one thing that I did want to do was trying and ensure that I could connect with you guys regardless of our evolving world. And two ways of doing that. One is my mailing list. And I send out a newsletter every so often, and you can sign up for my newsletter and get added to the mailing list by sending me an email at reese@reesewaters.com, or you can just sign up at my website, reesewaters.com. The second way is memberships. We launched memberships and it's gone extremely well. I'm trying to drop more and more membership content every single week. And you can find the link for membership in the description to all of my videos, including this one. And that gives me the ability to put out content and connect with you guys completely independent of the algorithm and who's in charge and who's deciding what topic and issue to favor and what to suppress. And so that is something that I think will become significantly more impactful as we move forward into a second Trump presidency. So I got the newsletter and the mailing list. You can sign up on my website, and I also have membership. The link is in the description to this and every video. Again, thanks so much for being a part of this channel. We're gonna ride it till the wheels fall off.